Hello and welcome to another Dolphin Financial Radio Show. My name is Dan Wendell, and today's topic we're going to be talking about the four keys to a satisfying retirement. And what we're going to do is reference some research that has been recently released, and it talks about how people are satisfied or not in retirement. And then it brings into the key factors of why they are satisfied or why they are not satisfied. And we boil it down to four because I'm going to bring my co-host on and we can't go more than four things. He'll just let me bring him in
Oh,
here.
come on.
There he is. There's
Oh,
Tony.
come on now.
Anytime we go like top 10, you fizzle out after five. So we're boiling. actually, this is today's topic is based on a research by the Employee Benefit Research Institute. They do the spending in retirement survey. We've talked about this in past shows, but every year they do this survey, and
It's a mouthful, and it sounds exciting, Dan.
I know that's why I didn't lead with it. But I'll tell you, the EBRI is quite useful when it comes to geeks like me that want data. So they do this survey, retirement income survey research, and what they do to make it more palatable for people like you and me is they have the partners who are like institutions, research, financial people, boil it down to something that we can chew on.
Yeah, I have the attention span of a gnat. So just the name, the Employee Benefit Research Institute's Retirement Security Research Center. Come on.
I know. It puts me to sleep too. But do you like my very thoughtful background?
Oh, Dan. Oh, look at that. Wait a minute, Dan. Wait for it. Hey, viewers and listeners, wait for it. It's the key to success. Dan has really just the mind gears turned, and he Googled the key to success and found clip art. Oh, hey, to go along with that, why don't you just put up a poster that says hang in there with a kitten hanging from a branch? Because it's just as original, Dan. What in the world? That is the worst background clip art. That is so cheesy. Wait for it. Wait for it. It's the key to success.
You know, I wanted to find the number four and put like the number four on top of it. The four keys to success.
4 keys to success. You could have just duplicated.
It's
you
been
could
a
have
long
just had
week,
the
Tony.
image 4 times. Just
yes. Maybe I'll do that for the
when I see
profile.
such thought put into this show, Dan, when I see the effort that you've put in with that, I get all excited, like JoJo, the idiot circus boy with a shiny new pet.
Well, as you can see, viewers, listeners, Tony's channeling his inner Tommy boy, aka Chris Farley. So, okay, so back to reality here, Tony. We're gonna get boring again, but this survey, and you can read this. I'll put it in the show notes so people can read it. It's probably 4 or 5 pages, but it's the summary, and it's called "A View from the Partners: The Practical Takeaways on the EBIR Research Profile." So what they do, we'll start off before we get into the 4 keys. They break retirees into 5 different profiles. They're average, comfortable, affluent, struggling, and then just getting by. Okay? So let me quickly just touch on what these are. So the average retiree, sure. and by what we say average, and this is the biggest percentage of people in the survey. 28% make up the average. So their income is between $40,000 and $100,000. They have less than $100,000 in assets.
Oh, wow.
And they scored 7.8 out of 10 on satisfaction. Not bad score.
Not bad.
So people might be saying 99,000 of assets. That's not going to get you very far in retirement.
Probably not. No.
But we'll show you what makes them satisfied, because it doesn't necessarily have to do with the amount of assets you have. And then we move to the comfortable retirees. So these people have between 100 and 320,000 of assets. They have some debt, but it's easily managed, and they claim to have savings above what they need. So that, 100 to 300,000 is more than they need. There are people listening and watching saying, 300,000 is not a lot either.
No.
But again, we'll get to that. They scored the second highest on the satisfaction scale. The one that scored the highest on the satisfaction scale is the affluent retirees. 100,000 plus of income, 320,000 plus of assets, no debt, no mortgage, and they have diversified sources of income. So already we could see they have the highest score out of 10 on satisfaction. So can money buy happiness? We did a show on that earlier. The answer is yes, I guess, and according to this research.
But come on now.
So let's go to the reality here. The struggling retirees. These are the people that scored the worst, 5.8 out of 10 on satisfaction. Hey, it's above half, right?
Yeah. Right? Doesn't sound so good, though. The word struggling.
Right. If I give you a 5.8 out of 10 on your impersonation of Farley, that would be a bad score, right? I think you're closer to an 8.5, 9.
That would be, I hope so.
Right. So the big key things to notice on the struggling retirees are they rent as opposed to own their home, and they rely heavily on Social Security. So those are the keys. And I just want to go to the last one, just getting by. This is their terminology, not mine. Just getting by. Very, very similar to the struggling retirees. There's really not much difference there, except they own their house free and clear.
Rather than rent. Yeah.
But look at their score. Look at their score. They got a 7.2 versus the 5.8. And the only difference there is the house.
Wow. So that's got to be one of the keys right there.
Absolutely. So
that's got to be one of the fake keys with the word success on it right there.
If you want to take over clip art, every week the listeners get the viewers get a chance to see what I have come up creatively wise.
Yeah.
When it comes to you, they have to see the same mother's basement. They have to see the Viking stickers and the CDs. Of 1980s music.
Actually, there's something new here. You didn't notice. Instead of a wall of CDs behind me, I removed those and had to get more record cabinets because now I have more albums.
They do look bigger. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, those are albums back there now. Yeah. So,
new
and
music?
You can see my grandpa Bob's painting right here.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. And that's all music back there. Yeah. Records.
So, get the drum roll ready, Tony.
Yeah. My mother's basement.
Right. So your mom's basement has added some more LPs. So let's talk about the 4 keys. Yes. These are the 4 top drivers of retirement. They are guaranteed source of income, low debt, clear spend down strategy, and employer-sponsored retirement help. So in summary, these are the 4 things that the researchers have determined would increase the satisfaction level.
Well, what about, owning a home, obviously? Where does that fit into the 4 you just listed?
I'll show you where that fits in. So let's go in no particular order. These are the order that they were in the research article. Guaranteed income. They said that higher spending satisfaction and confidence were associated with individuals with pension income.
Well, sure, yeah.
Pensions. You've talked about that a lot. You always mentioned you'd rather have a pension than
for sure.
Right. So we did a show on that
any day.
Here.
Yep.
We'll put the
You're
show
gonna put a link. You're gonna put a link up there.
Right. So when I was looking at this, the pension income is guaranteed income. Social Security is guaranteed by the government, but
that's like a pension.
So as you look at this data, you'll see that the more income these people have from a guaranteed source, a regular source, the higher their satisfaction in retirement is. And we know that currently 401ks, 403bs aren't designed to give income. They are designed to accumulate assets. The old pensions of the gold watch days, those were designed for income. We did a whole show on that, right?
Yep.
So now people are what you'll find is those with the highest satisfaction, even if they don't have the highest amount of assets, which I talked about, which was, hey, they only have 100,000, the average person, but they're satisfied because they have a pension. They have that source of income, or they're living within their means of Social Security, which is the guaranteed income. So having some sort of income is key. And I'll get back to it in the conclusion why even
Guaranteed,
more so.
having some sort of guaranteed income is key.
Right.
I think it's the fact that you know each month your bills are going to be covered for the rest of your life. That's the key. And that's why people who don't have pensions from the government have to set up their own personal pensions, because Social Security, although it's guaranteed income in retirement, that's not, as you've said, Dan, that's not going to be enough.
Not usually enough, right? If you can make it enough, you'll be happy. Those are the just getting by people.
Yep.
They're living within that Social Security means, but they don't have any other debt, so they don't need that other income. Now, they may not be doing all the things they wanted to do, but they're satisfied. I think one of the key points throughout this research is that no one wants to spend their savings. Nobody. At any level. So when you don't have that guaranteed income coming from a source predefined, like a pension, you have to go out and create it. But people don't want to. They don't want to take their money and spend it down. They like to see it there.
Plus, they don't know how to spend down money that's all in the market. They don't know how to make that last. I mean, they don't know how to create income from a 401k that's tied to the stock market or accounts like that.
Exactly. So, and we'll get to that in the next few. So let's talk about debt, because they said that debt is a key contributor to lack of satisfaction. So the more debt you have, the less your satisfaction score is. You have higher anxiety, poorer standard of living. So debt is a factor here. And this is the big difference between the just getting by and the struggling, because the struggling have that rent. Right. Whereas the just getting by have a house free and clear. So they don't have that housing cost
hanging over them each month.
Right. But if you look at it, if the difference between these is just a house, one medical emergency or one bad financial issue could take someone just getting by and throw them into struggling, because all of a sudden they'll have to take on medical debt or personal credit card debt or something. So the key here is to avoid debt. So I'll give you a practical example. I have some clients that, and this happens quite frequently, but I'm thinking of one particular couple who is doing fine. They have assets, they're building and they're saving, and what they're doing is they're putting more and more toward paying off their house. Their interest rate is super low. They refinanced, and I think they're certainly paying less than 3% interest on their home loan. And they're saying, what should we do? Should we put more in the stock market or investment, or should we pay down the debt? And I said, it doesn't, it's a personal preference. And they strongly want to pay off their house. Yeah. Even though they make more by investing in the long run, right?
Even though the math says to do something else.
The math says something else.
Yeah.
But the strong opinions people have about debt, I don't fight that. And I strongly believe in it. And it shows here, the research shows that debt causes anxiety. So why not eliminate the anxiety? And yeah, maybe you can get 3% more interest elsewhere, but is it worth it to have that looming debt over your head?
Interesting.
Some people just can't handle it. So debt is key. So what the research is suggesting is that people should tackle the debt before retirement. So jumping into retirement with debt is going to lead to less satisfaction than not having that debt. And that's where the whole home ownership thing comes in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
Spend down strategy. So this is the third one. Like I mentioned, no one wants to spend down their personal assets at any category. Even the super affluent do not want to spend down their assets.
Well, sometimes especially the super affluent.
Right. They'll say, I have this much in the bank and I want to live off of it, but I don't want to touch it. And you say, well, what are you saving it for? They might say for little Johnny. Or they might just, and a lot of people just don't have an answer to that. They just like that feeling of having it there.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you read the full research, you'll read about this. They talk about how there's this sticker shock of, long-term care, medical expenses in retirement. How much does it cost to live in retirement? And everyone says, oh, you need 2 million, whatever it is. But in reality, the expenses aren't as bad as people think. So in the beginning of retirement, you're scared. You're like, oh my God, I need more, I need more, I need more. But then when you're in your 80s, you're like, yeah, you know what? It wasn't so bad. I
Right.
didn't need
Right.
as much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. But
Exactly.
you have to get over that hump. So the problem is people can't get over that hump. So
Yeah, that's the
what
problem.
what helps people in this research report is to have that monthly income coming in, that using your assets to actually have a guaranteed income stream. People spend, if you say to someone you have 2 million, they'll freeze up. They'll say, "Oh, good, that's great." But if you say you have 2,000 a month coming from this source and another 2,000 a month coming from here, and you have Social Security, they say, "Oh, okay, I have 5,000 a month. I could spend that. I'm happy. I got that 5,000 coming in. As long as it's there, I'm happy." But if you say you have 2 million and you have to spend it, you know,
Yeah.
right? And you could
Right.
easily create the same income from 2 million, but people don't know how to do it.
Sure.
So they like cash flow versus assets.
Mm.
Cash flow is more satisfying than actual assets. That's the key takeaway on this. Which we did a show, How Much Do I Need to Retire? I'll put that up there. And I said in that show, that's the wrong question to ask. It's not how much money you need, like saved. It's how much income you need. That's the better question.
Yeah. And that's what a really good financial services professional like yourself, a fiduciary, is going to focus on creating income in retirement. That's the key to a retirement plan. A lot of people think it's, pick a date. Like, I'm going to retire at 62 because Social Security kicks in, and I'm going to retire at 65 because of Medicare.
And
That's
with
fine.
500,000.
Yeah, and I need X amount of dollars. And once I hit that X amount of dollars, I'm good. But really, and this is what people aren't good at and don't understand the ins and outs. And this is what we talk about every week on the show. Really, the huge value that you provide your clients. I mean, other than just the gift of this, what you have going on here, Dan, is the solving for income in retirement, right? We're so used to accumulate. We're great at, hey, I know how to accumulate. I'll put it in the markets. I'll put it in my 401k. Accumulation has been made easy if you have a job and you have money. It's easy to save for retirement because it's money you never see. It can be direct deposited, but it's not easy to create income and know how to make it last and know how to calculate for healthcare, long-term care, taxes, etc.
Right.
And so that's the key to this, right? Is knowing you have a steady income. And that's why we did a show on this. That's why things like people shouldn't poo-poo things like annuities, because there's a fixed indexed annuity where you can get a lifetime income rider that will give you, in addition to Social Security, another guaranteed source of monthly income, correct?
Right. And going back to the first point that they made, guaranteed income is the key, pension, they suggest, having companies offer an income annuity option in the
Yes.
401k.
Yeah. See, that would
Because
help.
people don't like to take that leap. Like I said, they don't want to spend their assets and they don't have a strategy. And so the fact that they don't know how to create the income, coupled with the fact that they don't want to create it, they want the income, but they don't want to create it. They don't want to let go. That's the problem. That is the problem. Which
it's
leads
too
to
bad
the last
pensions
one.
went away. That's the sad part. Yeah.
That's the
Although
biggest.
because they did, it gives you more. I mean, you're busier than ever because
Right.
most people now don't have pensions. They have to solve for income in retirement.
Right. The people that have pensions, they have their assets. They're like, let's invest it in long term. But most people like, I don't have a pension. I need to create income from it. That's a very different discussion.
Sure.
Which leads to the last point that they made, the fourth key, and that is employer-sponsored advice. So, and they talk about advice, and the advice isn't just how to invest the money. Oh, should I put it in the target date fund? Should I put it in fixed income, bonds, stocks? It's that, but it's also plans. Hand holding improves retirement satisfaction. Having someone there to remind you about the debt, to talk to you about guaranteed income, to help you with Social Security decisions, to talk to you about long-term care costs, healthcare, Medicare, the things that are unknown, that are scary, that are sticker shock. Having an advisor walk you through it. It's not necessarily just about investment, because that's been the traditional investment advice that you get through the employer. Let me meet in the lunchroom with the sponsor.
Yeah.
They'll say,
that's my bone
click,
that I have
click.
to pick with this one. It says employer sponsored advice, but really then it says what you need is a financial advisor, because my employer, your employer, the companies I've worked for, they have very little advice on what to do once you leave the job or what to do with that 401k. It's not that great. You sit in your, HR and benefit meeting, and there's not a lot they can tell you. However, a financial advisor, that's where you come in, right?
Well, and that's what the research is showing. They say those that have that coaching are more satisfied.
Yep. Hand-holding, coaching.
Do you need the coaching? No, but if you have it, you're more satisfied because you feel more confident, because you've avoided mistakes. That's usually what advisors. My job is to help people avoid mistakes. The current system, the
Costly
401k
mistakes.
system, the pension system, you avoided mistakes because you didn't have choices. It was just, here it is.
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
Like I said with my parents, they both had pensions. They didn't have to think. But if you have to think, I'm not saying people don't know how to think, but this is complex stuff. The 401k is not designed to retire off of. The 401k is designed to grow.
It's
so
a
you got to make
savings
that
vehicle.
change, right?
Yeah.
And so the advice that the employers give right now is very basic. And the research is suggesting you need to beef that up. You need to talk about debt and spending strategies, and they're just not.
The fourth key is to work with a financial services professional like yourself.
Right. So concluding the 4 things that we talked about: guaranteed income, controlling debt, having a spending strategy, and then getting the advice. You get those ahead of retirement, you're better off. Yep. So a lot of people wait till after they retire and then they sit down and say, all right, what do we do? This should be happening before retirement, ideally. Makes my job easier when someone's 55 and says, I want to retire in 5 years, than someone that's 62 and says, I just retired and took Social Security. Did I do the right thing?
Whoops.
Right?
Yeah, and it's changing too. I mean, there's so many changes to IRS tax regulations and changes to retirement tools. They change the laws and everything all the time. So to keep up on changes with Social Security, Medicare, taxes, you have to work with an advisor. I mean, it's just, if you don't, it's you're not going to have that peace of mind and relieve that anxiety that's going to take you up on that scale of 1 to 10. You want to be as close to 10 as possible, obviously.
That's right. And you said the word anxiety, and that's the key. Is what I always say is successful retirement is about increasing income and decreasing stress. My job is to do both of those. And the stress decrease is different for everybody, but there are certain keys that help. Having that income, reducing the debt, having a plan, it just reduces stress levels, and then you're going to score higher on a satisfaction survey.
Sure.
So you don't need a ton of money to be happy in retirement.
No.
You just need a plan for what you do have.
Yeah.
A lot of people avoid talking to somebody because they're embarrassed or they're afraid to hear that they don't have enough. But the odds of you not having enough are pretty low because you are going to change to fit what your situation is. People don't like to live in misery, so they change. They say, all right, I'm going to make do. It's easier if you have someone telling you, here's how you can make do. Here's the things you can cut. Here's the things that you don't have to worry about. So I like this report. It does get in the weeds, but this summary helpful. And these top 4 keys to success. I know it's cheesy, Tony. I know it's cheesy, but you got to admit, it boils it down pretty simple.
No, that's good. I like the 4 keys to success. It was just the only thing cheesy was the clip art today. Was your background image. So no, it's good stuff. Good stuff, Dan.
Well,
So
thanks for a good show, Tony.
yeah, it was fun, and I think that you can have a stress-free retirement if you just follow those 4 steps. That's awesome. This show really boiled it down. I like that. I mean, even though the study name was a lot to get, that intro
Yeah, what are you
was a
gonna
lot
do?
to get through.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, between that and my Chris Farley attempt imitation,
they balance each other out, right? keeps people mellow.
All right.
Well, thanks, Tony. I'm gonna bring in the kids. Have a good show, and we'll catch you next week.
All matters discussed in today's show are for informational purposes only.
This show is not investment advice.
Dan Riddle nor Dolphin Financial Group are affiliated or endorsed by any government agency.
Investment advisory services are offered through Dolphin Wealth Management, Inc., a registered investment advisor in the state of Florida.
Insurance products and services are offered through Dolphin Insurance, Inc.
Dolphin Wealth Management, Inc. and Dolphin Insurance, Inc. are affiliated companies doing businesses as Dolphin Financial Group.
You should talk to someone at Dolphin Financial Group before implementing any of these strategies or ideas.